The Good Guy Experience.
Hey, Good Guy Experience fam. How are you? I'm Black Pearl.
And I'm Royal Rain.
I know you guys are trying to figure out where the rest of the Good Guy crew is. Well, we did tell you that we would be having some segments where it's just myself and Royal having that woman to woman, that girlfriend conversation, but not excluding the men and how it affects them as well. So here we are on a Sunday, Black Pearl and Royal, alive and in action. So, how are you today, Royal?
I am good. I'm good. It's a beautiful Sunday.
It sure is. It sure is. Did you enjoy your week?
My weekend has been good. It's been busy. Shout out to Beta Lambda Sigma chapter here, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. We did a great thing this weekend. Volunteer supporting the North Carolina Food Bank here in Raleigh.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
yeah, and so we sorted and packed almost 17,000 pounds
What?
of carrots to be distributed throughout their service area. So that was dope. So shout out to them. And then this weekend, um, I attended a glitter ball, the sneaker ball, that was sponsored by another chapter, the Greenville chapter, Beta Pi Sigma. So my weekend has been fun of volunteer service and then fun and fellowship. So
Fantastic.
yes.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that my weekend's been
What about
good
you?
too. Um, I got ordained to do weddings, so yay! Now I'm not a priest or a pastor; I'm still faulty, but I
All
will
right.
be so excited to do people's weddings for them in all areas. So that is the highlight of my weekend. So I'm excited. So I'm glad to see you guys joining us. We are ready to hear your opinions and ready for you to interact. So Royal, I want to tell.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So tonight, or this evening, um, we want to have woman to woman conversation about being strong and the fatigue associated with just being a strong woman. Um, and I'm saying woman because of the fact that oftentimes, and this is not to leave our male counterparts out. So, men, if you're joining us tonight, definitely have a seat, grab some popcorn, join the conversation.
Learn
Um,
more about your woman, other women
yeah,
in your life.
absolutely. And feel free to, you guys drop comments and questions so that we can interact with you all. But um, but the topic of just being a strong woman, and specifically oftentimes we hear the term strong black woman.
Absolutely.
And Pearl is going to elaborate on that, but that's the whole premise of tonight about just being that strong woman and what it looks like and why we have or feel the need to be strong,
Yeah.
but the impact that it has on us as well from a fatigue standpoint.
Yeah. So I know women in general are beautiful creatures and they're strong. So I don't want to leave anyone out, but I'm just going to
Absolutely.
be real. I feel like in our Black culture, being strong is romanticized, and it is just a very hard thing to carry. We do not hear in any other cultures that women need to be strong, and I feel that when we romanticize that, we also give that underlining message that you don't need anyone else; you could do it alone. And let's be real, none of us are made as an island. We may accept it doing it by ourselves, but I think being strong becomes a very heavy burden to carry. Now,
Absolutely.
let's be real. Everyone who has been strong is not being strong just for the purpose of being strong, right? There are different reasons why we choose to be strong. I think we need to identify that also.
All right, so let's talk
So,
about that.
so let's talk about that. What are some things that you see, Royal? Because we all interact with people,
Yeah.
uh, being strong, and I'm gonna do it like this.
So being strong as a woman, oftentimes it's because of the fact that as a former single parent, but for my single parent women out there, you have to be able to work, hold your family down, make sure that your kids are good, make sure that the safety measures are in place for your children as well, because some women, between working and being able to manage the household, becomes a balancing act. So first and foremost, being able to provide is one reason why women are having the need to be strong, because there's no other counterpart in the home to help balance that. Some other reasons why women feel like they need to be strong is because of the fact that maybe there are no suitable men that you desire to engage with, to even create a relationship with, to create that type of situation where you have someone to balance and bounce things off of.
I want to go a little deeper with that.
Go ahead.
Real. I agree with all the points that you made. And as a single parent myself, and didn't start off as one.
Right.
Just to clarify, I think my whole life, people have always said, "You're so strong." I think they probably said I was strong before they said I was beautiful, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But I think being strong became a defense mechanism as a single parent. And when I say defense mechanism, it became that because you just encounter a lot of disappointments, right? And you encounter I can't rely on anybody, so I'm going to rely on myself. The core of that strength is not strength. The core of that strength is to control and to defend and to just not be disappointed, which leads back to what you just said of the whole, you're just not finding a suitable partner. It's just, here I am. So let's say you said the single parent thing, and it doesn't have to be single parent, because I know plenty of single parents that are married. Okay. So it gets to the point where you're like, I refuse to put myself in a position to believe that someone has my back.
Right.
And they leave me hanging. They drop the ball, or worse, they fumble me.
Right.
And so a lot of us can only boo-hoo and be upset for so long, right?
Right.
Get up, and they keep going, and they're just like, I got it. I'm not going to ask for help. I got this. I just don't have any time for anyone to disappoint me.
Right.
And so we adapt the strength. We put on our cape, and we're like, we got it. But guess what? We tired, boss. We tired. You know what I mean? You get tired. Absolutely. Because here's what else happens, and I know you'll understand this. We start pulling on things onto ourselves that we don't even have to pull onto ourselves in this moment of strength.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, for me, I feel like, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Royal.
No, I was going to say that what you just mentioned made me think of the fact of we as women, and especially speaking as me as the oldest and only girl in my family.
Oh, okay.
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 So what happens is you have to be the nurturer. Okay. So from a caretaker standpoint, okay, taking care of a loved one, taking care of others, that nurturing role takes on its own shape, and it begins to manifest beyond. And this is what you were just speaking to, beyond just within your family. It starts broadening out into, oh, I see this person in need. Let me go help them. Ooh, that person is going through. And so again, that cape that you just put on now, even though it has its wondrous powers, if you will, but now you're going out here thinking you Wonder Woman, the Superwoman, all the women.
Right. That's right.
And that in itself can become problematic. But go ahead, love. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm with you. Some of us are strong, and I'm putting it out there like this. Some of us play the role of being strong because we want to be needed. We want validation that we're still important, and these are all things you have to self-identify. And that in itself, I think of all the roles of being strong, is the heaviest, because we sometimes turn into a people pleaser. We overgive and don't put in the boundaries that are necessary, right? And so you find yourself being Mr. Fix It. Mrs. Excuse me. Fix
Mrs.
It.
Right.
Right.
Mrs. Fix It.
My bad, but we're fixing everything. And then something that I see that happens with that role of strong, where we want to fix everything and we want that validity and we want someone to want us to fix it, we become controlling and we become bitter. Because most of the time when you're in that people pleasing role, that strength of pleasing, the strength of relying on others for validation, is you have resentment. And there is this resentment because you usually don't get back what you're putting out there. You usually don't, because no one's trying to fix you. You're too busy fixing everybody else.
Exactly. And then you get lost.
In the
You're
sauce.
all completely lost. And then when nobody's able, and it reminds me of my pastor, because oftentimes, and I've heard it said, and I distinctly, I remember him saying something to the effect of, what happens is when you pour as a leader, when you pour yourself into all these other people and nobody's pouring back into you, then you are an empty vessel.
Absolutely.
And how can you continue to pour into anybody if you yourself are empty? You have nothing else to give. So what are you doing? So what are you pouring? Fluff, air? Like, what are you at this point? Like, what are you?
We're pouring validation because we feel validated by other people need us, but you're not.
But you're not.
You're not.
And so my question is, and I do have an opinion about this, but I want to pose this question.
Ask your question.
My question is, so how do we transition from having the need to be needed? Because there's nothing wrong with being needed. That's not even where
it's naturally innate in us too.
It is, because of that nurturer characteristic that lies within all of us, right? But what happens is, what I'm speaking to is when we overexert ourselves, overextend ourselves emotionally. How do we stop ourselves from giving so much that we have nothing else to give? And especially when no one else is pouring back into us. How do we stop that?
Well, for me, I can only talk on my own experience. For me, I had to learn that I can't give anything to anyone else that I am not giving to myself. That's me. Because, you talk about your pastor, so I'm going to just tap a little bit on some Christianity. The word says that you need to be a cheerful giver. Some of us are giving and we are not cheerful at all about it. We're grumbling, we're complaining, we're, all that other stuff. I think the thing that people don't talk about when they talk about being strong or they talk about giving is boundaries. You need to have those boundaries. And I think something that I had to learn, because I'm a natural giver, is I had to heal first. Because I was using that giving aspect as a Band-Aid. You know what I mean? Like, it feels good. I have relevance. I'm important. But I didn't have relevance. I had enough relevance as what that person needed in that moment. That was that. So everyone's process is different. I do say that. And you also learn that in a world of giving, there's plenty of takers. Plenty. So I think you just need to acknowledge it. That's the best way I could say it. And what you're giving is so much better when you give it to yourself first.
Right.
It just really is. So, did you not struggle with that? I know you're not a single parent anymore, and I know you're in a relationship, but there are people who are in marriages that still live in that single, strong person life. So, how did you transition to that? Because that's the other problem with being strong, the transition.
Absolutely.
To letting someone help you.
Yeah. And that is where you have to learn how to be vulnerable. And that's a hot topic here lately, about vulnerability. But you have to be able to be vulnerable. Open yourself up to allow someone to help you.
Yeah.
Be okay. Like you just said, be okay admitting this is where I am. Lord knows I'm tired. Like you
Lord
said,
knows, yes.
like you said, I'm tired, boss. Well, if you are tired, then you have to learn how to delegate. Delegation. If you are in a situation, if you're in a family, I'm gonna go back to being a single mom. If you are a single mother and your children are of age where they can help you, and let's be clear, and this is Royal Reign speaking, okay? This is my opinion and my opinion only. Begin your children out early. And I'm not trying. I know today is Sunday, so I'm in my little church mode right now. So I'm just going to throw it out there. I am. But what I'm going to say is, the word says, "Train up a child in the way in which he or she," that's my version, "should walk." And so, with that being said, if your child is 5 years old, guess what they can do?
Clean up.
They can learn how to clean. They can learn how to
people cleaning up after their partner, who's a man, who's grown.
No. Everybody has Everybody has a contributing part to helping the household. Your child can learn how to pick up behind themselves, clean their room. They can learn how to take the trash out. And when I say take the trash out, if you have a trash can in the bathroom, they can go in that bathroom, ladies and gents, and they can dump that trash can in the big trash can. That's what, the little trash can, right? Yeah, we can dump the little trash can into the big trash. That's teaching them how to help. You know what I'm saying? How to contribute. And in doing that, have conversations. Be transparent. Let people know when you're going through. Don't sit around and try.
I think that's easier. And I know I just totally interrupted you, but I think that is easier said than done. A true person that is either in I don't think I could rely on anyone. Yes. I'm afraid to be vulnerable.
Yes.
Or the disappointment.
You're going to make me take my shoes off. Keep talking. Go ahead. Because I'm getting ready to get comfortable. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So, of course, we're going to talk about ourselves because we're always talking about the imaginary people, right?
Yeah.
I think that the desire, and it's not a need because I don't have a need, the desire to fill the shoes of strength became more with the negative experiences of my life, right? Say it again.
I said, I got you.
And so, people always go, check on your strong friend. And I'm going to be real with you. And everyone said, someone who goes, how you doing? The automatic answer is, I'm good. I'm fine.
Yeah, right.
Everything's good because we've been also conditioned as Black women, don't complain. Ain't nobody want to hear your complaints. So I think it's wonderful when people go, oh, if you ever need, dial this. If you ever need, say no. Most of the strong people are not opening their mouth because they're like, I don't want to burden you with my stuff. And more importantly, do I trust that you will be around when I open up? And then that's also why it's wonderful to have a good friend, you know what I mean? Or a sister or a cousin or whoever to talk to that you could talk to with no judgment, no, whatever. But I'm telling you, the average strong person is not just opening up every time they have a problem.
Can I ask you a question now?
Absolutely.
Say you walk in your house.
My house.
Okay? Walk in your house and you see water. Water's on the floor, right? First thing you do is what?
Pick it up.
No. It's water all over your floor.
Oh.
When you walk in your house, water is all over your floor.
You go look for the source.
You go look for the source. And then when you find the source and you realize what the problem is, what do you do next?
Well, I'm going to be real. Because I'm smart, I take care of the source. But a lot of times people just clean up the water and try to band-aid the source.
This is what I'm saying. Even if you see the source, you realize the source, but you don't do anything. You don't pick up the telephone and call someone who can help resolve that issue. Then guess what's going to happen? You're going to mess around and have a house that is completely damaged structurally.
I agree.
Structural damage.
I agree.
Because of the fact that you allowed this water to seep into the floors and damage the whole house. Listen to me.
I'm listening.
If you, and I'm sorry, guys, I'm not even talking to you right now, Pearl. But
No,
if
you're
you,
fine, girl.
because if the thing is, when I say be transparent, when I say you have to be able to be vulnerable, if you don't know how to do these things, then I strongly suggest that you seek counseling. Now, let me back it up, because I already know, girl, ain't nobody going to no therapist, because that is not what we do. Listen, sweethearts. I know. Listen, that is what we need to start doing.
Absolutely, because we try to bandage. Who got time for that? Who gonna do this for this person? Who's gonna do that for that person? Where I got the money to do that? I get all of that.
You have to learn how to be vulnerable. You have to learn how to compromise. You have to learn how to ask people for help.
I have one better.
Go ahead.
Stop looking for that strong friend and be that strong friend, because that's the other thing. We are in a world where someone is looking to distract themselves sometimes with your mess, like they don't have mess. And so they come and they try to be a friend that's not really a friend, and it makes it worse. Not making justifications for people, right. But sometimes you do need to just be able to pick up the phone and be like, girl, I'm tired. Or just get on the phone and have someone cry, be able to cry. Right. A lot of people are looking for that, but they never look to see if they're that person for someone else also. Right. And in no shape or form am I saying that every married person or everyone in a relationship doesn't have that problem, because again, I repeat, and we'll come back to it another time, there's a lot of single parenting happening in married situations.
Absolutely. And right. And go ahead.
I think we become so strong, it actually turns into a weakness. And I'm being honest with you, I feel at times
it's a downfall.
It's a downfall. It's a downfall. And to use your example, hey, you walk into the house and you see water all over the floor. Some of us are walking into the house with the people we think we can rely on. They're like, girl, you got water on the floor. And I'll come back, girl, look like you busy. That's not what you need. I think we get so focused and barely focused on, children need a village. Adults need a village too.
Yes, they do. They do.
It's a very lonely, cold world out there, and you can't be strong for everybody and forget about yourself.
Absolutely. Right. And I know you said, Roy, and us having this conversation about being transparent. And I'm gonna say this like this, because I just had this conversation with a dear sister friend of mine last night, and I won't go into the conversation because that's neither here nor there. But what my comment was to her was, I'm at a place in my life, and this has been going viral on TikTok too, about exerting energy and allowing people to take energy from you. Let me explain something. Tamara Royal Reign.
She's about to give y'all the government name. Go ahead, girl.
Royal Reign is at a place, and I've been in this place for a while now. But again, I've been through, and I'm being transparent, I've been through years of counseling to get where I am now. So when you were talking about the healing, baby, I'm pretty much healed. And then disclaimer, Tamara is cool with her, me, myself, and I. I'm good with me. Okay.
You Gucci.
God knows. So I'm saying this to say, at this point in your life, if you are tired, then be okay with being tired and then do something about it. Don't sit around and keep holding on to stuff and letting it fester. And when I say holding on to stuff, I mean holding on to other people's stuff. Like we said, trying to fix somebody or trying to fix their situation. It ain't your situation.
It's not.
Stop claiming something that's not yours. Again, Tamara is at a place in her life where she don't even care. And my words, and I know this is Sunday, so I ain't gonna say the word, but I'll throw this finger up. This is what I am saying. Oftentimes, I may not verbally say it, but when it comes to a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with me and I can't do anything about it, that's my response. And that's me establishing, like you just spoke to about boundaries. That's Tamara establishing boundaries. I cannot exert more energy to someone and something than what I'm able to receive back. Because when I don't have, who is going to refill me? Absolutely nobody. Because my husband is going to be like, well, what you do that for? Yeah. And I'm going to be like, and then I'm going to sound like Scooby-Doo.
Well, also, so here's, so we're talking about friends and family. Let's take and I'm with you. Let's go back so that we could come forward. I feel like there's also a certain amount of strength that's required as Black women, Black and brown women, that no other race
culture
has to experience. You know, you can't be too ethnic in the corporate world. I'm just trying to be real. Too ethnic in the corporate world.
Yes.
And I'm gonna speak for myself. I can see my white counterparts at work cry when they're frustrated. I better not.
No, you better not.
I better not. I can be passionate and properly articulating myself about something I truly believe in, and I have to reel that back, not to be too strong so that it doesn't come across as anger. That is a very tiring weight to carry in general.
Yes.
And for those of you who know me personally, I hold my tongue for no one. If you ask me a question, please expect an answer. I've always been like that, because I'm gonna own my truth. And I'm gonna tell you from my experience, oftentimes I'm encountered, you know, with the no.
Yes.
But then again, I'm justifying and sometimes expected, not feeling that expectation, to console you, use my strength to console you because you got called out. These are things that people go through all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the everyday. And it just does not have to just be in corporate America. That strength alone, being a Black woman, is a lot. We are conditioned in this world to save the white woman. We are not conditioned to save the Black woman. We're not. We are almost conditioned that it's okay if you
opposite.
Yeah. It's okay if you don't have someone helping you. You strong. It's okay if you're a single parent. You strong. And I'm telling you, it's all blasphemous lies.
It is.
It is lies. We are not created to be an island. We've even heard on the show where, hey, I've been shown, and all I've ever seen is Black women being strong. And I get it, it worked, but that doesn't mean it's the best way.
Right.
You know, just because something is happening, just because something is working, does not mean it's the best way. It goes with that saying, working smarter and not harder.
Right.
There's a reason two people to have a child. It's plain and simple. Whatever the two people that raise them is fine. But the thought that I have to carry this burden by myself, then go to work, carry the burden of being that person at work too, then come home and recarry that's that's a no bueno in my world.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. And the other thing that's often not spoken is the detriment that it has emotionally, from the standpoint of when you get to a place of being so tired that you don't want to live anymore.
Yes.
And again, we don't like talking about suicide. We don't like talking about mental health in our community. But listen, we have got to begin having these timely conversations, even though it may be uncomfortable. But we have to get to a place where we're comfortable with one another, and calling a family meeting. Call mama and grandmama and their aunties and cousins. Listen, y'all come on to the house. We're gonna have some wine and we're gonna sit back and have conversation like you and I are having tonight. Let's have conversation. Where y'all at? Let's do a check.
But is it easy for you to do that? On a personal level, on a group level, we could do plenty of that. But I'm really asking you. Okay,
Yeah.
let me take a step back.
You're fine.
Let me take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
When the time before your healing, because you clearly said I'm healed.
Yeah.
Was it easy for you to say, "Ooh, child, I need some help"?
No.
Okay. And what stopped you? And so you don't have to ask me too. The answer is Anna. Anna.
No.
But yeah.
So what stopped me? What stopped me is that primarily I don't interact and I'm just being honest, I don't interact with a whole lot of people. My circle is very, very small, truly. My internal circle. Now I have this macro circle that
Yep.
that's around me. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But just in general, my circle is very small and has always been very small. There's been a lot of things that has gone on with me in the past, and people are like, okay, I don't know why she acting like that, or they may have heard different things or whatever and not understand why X, Y, and Z was going on because it wasn't discussed because of my circle. You understand what I'm saying? But that's what stopped me, because I didn't have anybody to talk to. And for me, when I reached a point where I had to have somebody to talk to, that's when I actively sought out therapy. But that's that. To answer your question, that is why I didn't have anybody.
So you say you don't have any. So you didn't have, like, you know how a lot of people say, I have this best friend.
No, girl, I was me myself. It was just
like that?
literally.
No, girl.
No, girl, no. It was just me, myself, and my kids. Like that's, I mean, and that's not to take away from my parents or a few close friends that I did have, but to share the experiences as an adult woman with children, right? And to me, it's a slight difference between being an adult woman with no children and an adult woman with children. And
Absolutely.
maybe I shouldn't make that judgment, but I'm just saying
it doesn't mean one is harder than the other. It's just different.
It's just different. And so to have conversation with someone younger than me at the time who didn't have the responsibilities that I had, they wouldn't have been able to really relate. Okay. And again, who wants to have a conversation with their parents? Hey, y'all, I'm going through. You want to help me? Like, no.
Well, some people, people do
so,
have a relationship like that with their parent. You're just saying you didn't have a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I probably did.
And I didn't either.
And it's possible that I may have. I just didn't knock on that door. You know what I'm saying? For it to be open. Which goes back to what you were speaking to earlier too. So,
yeah,
but what was your situation like?
So, my stuff got layers to it too.
Okay.
So I was conditioned to be an island. Period. There's culturally, for those of you who know, who don't know, and I'm sure there's multiple cultures that are like this. I'm just talking about mine. So growing up in a Haitian, Dominican, and I'm going to say more on the Haitian because some of the pressures are not 100% the same from what I can see in the Dominican world. I know they have it in the African world. Mm-hmm. You are supposed to carry it. That is your job. That is what you're there. Even the way you're raised, we handle the brunt of everything, period. Mm-hmm. I've said before, I've seen marriage all throughout my life. So I didn't see single parenthood growing up. However, my mother raised me to say, if you get a man, that's great. And if you don't, just make sure you get things people can't take away from you.
Right.
Which is bad, and then also growing up, I knew my dad was always there, regardless if he could or he couldn't. So that's my first layer. Mm-hmm. Then I also grew up in where my mother taught me never let them see you sweat. Don't let people know your weakness, blah, blah, blah. All of that, right? And I mean conditioned, told, whatever. So when I got to the point in my life where I was in this abusive marriage, there really wasn't anyone there. I'm sure there are people in my life that like to believe they were there. They weren't. Mm-hmm. No one called to say, how are things going? Because I'm telling you, asking someone, how are you? They're just going to say, I'm good. Mm-hmm. Most people do not unfold. When I tried to reach out to people to talk to them, I met them with judgment. I met them with, I'll call you back, and they never called me back. So when I did actually get a call back, I didn't want to talk anymore. You know what I mean? Like I didn't need it.
There was just over. Right.
Yeah, there were times I was calling with the lump in my throat. Everybody knows the lump in your throat, right?
Right.
The lump in my throat. I thought I was losing, excuse my language, my shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I couldn't break down in front of my kids. I couldn't break down at work. I just needed somebody. And I promise you, if I made 5 phone calls, 4 of them were people who just were waiting to talk. Does that make sense what I'm saying to you?
Mm-hmm.
They weren't listening.
Ready to carry a bone.
Yeah.
Ready to carry the bone. Right.
Okay, so that was that.
Yes.
And some of those people still in my life, not like, hey, let me call, maybe let me go hang out and have fun with you. Things like that. And the next layer is I have had in my entire life 2 best friends. My first one was when I was younger. I mean, not even able to have babies yet type of best friend. And, life goes on, things happen, we stop being best friends. And then one recently. And I think with both of those best friends, I was able to be authentically, realistically, not apologetically me. Like I could be like, and I'm being exaggerated, my butt's itching. They'd be like, word, scratch it. I could be myself.
Right.
And I realized in that moment, and I'm just being real, that I was able to just take the cape off and just be in the essence of my best friend. Right. That person was home to me. Well, that ended, and the natural strong thing that happens is the wall goes back up. And you're like, I'm good. I could do it by myself. I'm good. Because that's not something that just happens because you're near a person or because that person promises to be a friend. That's something that you build, you invest in, and you build a trust. Like people use that word best friend lightly. I don't. I don't. And so as a person who's strong, I just don't even bother. I take it, and this is not the best either, but I take it to the Lord. I put it down, and I keep it moving. So I say all that to say, you said, hey, you're supposed to say, I need help. I promise you, it does not work like that. And I know you know this too. It does not work like that when you're in it. It just doesn't work. You're not like, oh, let me call.
Yeah.
Right? Just like when you talk about someone killing themselves.
Right.
I got to pick up the phone, dial the number is the easy part. But now I have, what's wrong? Did you take any? That's the thoughts that go through people's heads.
Yeah. And I guess
answer those questions. You know what I mean?
I got you. And I guess when I say just say it, just let it be known, it's from the standpoint of making it okay to not be okay. To try to normalize in this moment, to try to normalize
excuse me.
You're fine. The thought process of this is where I am and this is what I need.
Yeah. But again, we have to be that person
instead
of looking for, and I'm saying that because and again, I've said this, I've been that person where I'm like, why was I the one okay for you to say you feel like killing yourself too? But then you have to realize also we live in a world where, like you said, everybody looking for a bone, right?
Yeah, looking for a bone carry. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, I also feel that a part that becomes very tiresome, especially in 2022, soon to be 2023, is living up to this, I don't even know, a narrative that's created on social media and in the world. Like the strength to be in a relationship, to be in a happy relationship, to be the perfect family, to be the perfect size, the perfect look, have the right. I think that also gets tiring for women as well. And this is why sort of those, which we could talk about another time, those love languages, so important. So important. Because here's another thing. You said being able to find someone that helps you when you say, I need help. Sometimes that help is, I need that affirmation that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yes.
Sometimes that help is acts of service. Don't ask me what I need done. Look and see what I need done. That's acts of service. And again, physical touch is definitely not the majority of the time sex. It's not. Sometimes
Right.
physical touch is, I just need someone to hug me and
Right.
say, you're going to be all right.
Right.
You don't even need to know what it is. You're going to be all right. So
Right.
those things too, I think.
Yeah. And you know what? When you say that, I immediately thought about the fact that as women, we don't affirm one another.
Oh, absolutely not. We break each other down real quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll chop you up. You chop the fruit. Y'all see them hands?
It's so sad. It is.
But
so
for real,
sad.
like we have no problem doing that. But again, to create a new precedent, we have to establish, again, as far as and primarily this is for my Black sisters, we have got to do better
Absolutely.
about affirming one another.
I think it's missing in the church too.
I agree.
Shoot me now if y'all want to.
No, I so agree.
I think that
Like,
self-righteousness kills us.
Yeah, everybody wants to be right. Everybody wants to showboat. Okay, I'm gonna just throw it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I did this. I did that.
And the Lord said, the Lord said, your sin, my sin. So we both sinning right now. Let's keep
Amen. And that part, you pray for me, I pray for you. So we have to create a new precedent of uplifting one another. Oftentimes, and again, and jokingly, I just made the comment of, I pray for you, you pray for me.
Yeah.
Because it is often said, but how many of us actually take the time to pray for one another?
We don't, but we'll talk about one another.
Right. Or even in our place of employment. I mean, and this doesn't matter, color line or anything like that. But if you see a fellow colleague doing something great, again, pointing back to what you spoke to a few months ago, you see something that needs to be done and you take the initiative to do it. How many of us as women take the time to say, you know what, Pearl, girl, that was all right. Bam, you did that.
But it's
like, and it's like pulling teeth, as an old folks saying. It's like pulling teeth to
but
get
I'm gonna be
someone
honest.
to acknowledge that.
It goes back to your pouring out of an empty vessel. I can't do for you what I struggle to do for myself.
Yes.
Something that I learned to do. Yeah, you're gonna think I'm crazy when I say.
No, I won't. No, I won't.
So, when I first learned that my ex-husband was cheating, of course I'm angry. But I had to come to a place where I go, it's not their fault that he's cheating. Even though they all knew he was married, it's his fault. No one could come through the door and disrespect you if someone doesn't open it for you, at least in that situation.
I understand. Yes.
Okay.
I agree.
So what I started to do, and I still do it now, is I pray. Not prayed in general, prayed for that person. Lord, I got issues with this person. I feel on this. And I do it to this day. If I find out someone doesn't like me or they have beef with me, which is not a lot, not trying to toot my own horn, but if I find out like, oh, this person has an issue with you, or this person thinks blah, blah, blah about you, and don't know me from Adam, girl.
That's right.
I just pray for them. I pray for them so I can soften myself and not be there with them, because here's what happened. Y'all projecting, bro. You are straight projecting. I didn't do anything to you. And it also helps me to see what I'm, I'm involved in that too. What am I projecting out too?
Right. Absolutely.
I'm not a super Christian. Trust me when I say that. I'm not a super Christian. What you call yourself? A cursing Christian?
Yeah, I'm a cursing Christian.
I am not. I'm very flawed. But I understand that we break each other down. We create adversity where there's none, because we're always on the defense, and we're hurting each other. We are really killing each other. Like, do I think that women first, but Black women are strong? We are phenomenal. Do you hear me? I will always say that. I will say unapologetically, we are phenomenal. We are the beginning and we are the end. And I mean that. I mean that we give life, we nurture, we uplift, right? With the
Yes.
right woman in your life, you could be a man you didn't even think you could be.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
I do.
But why do we not do that for one another?
Absolutely. And
Because we worried that you're gonna take what I got. You can't.
right.
You
right.
can't. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I
If
do.
someone takes what you got, it wasn't yours, boo.
That's it.
It wasn't yours. And I believe that to the core of who I am. That doesn't mean I don't get hurt when I lose things. You get what I'm saying? But we are all in the same fight.
Absolutely.
But we are fighting each other.
Absolutely.
And we
Absolutely.
are getting nowhere. Like when I tell you we're getting nowhere, we're getting nowhere. We are taking the strongest part of us and using that to break each other down instead of lifting each other up.
Instead of lifting each other up.
It's
Absolutely.
horrible.
Right.
It's horrible.
Right. Right. Learn how, and instead of being the creator of chaos,
Yes.
take that same energy and transform that into being a mentor.
Yeah.
Transform that into being a coach.
Yeah.
So that way the support system is there. Because if I'm mentoring you, you're going to get something from me. But guess what, baby girl? I'm going to get something from you too.
Absolutely. But, you know, I've heard the thought that everyone is my competition is bananas to me. I think it's bananas, but there are people who live like that. There are people who are in relationships who are living in a defense mode.
Right.
There are people, which, let me be real with you, you're not fighting another woman. You're fighting your own insecurities and the fact that you can't trust the person you're with.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you're being strong, but you're not dealing with the root of the problem, which is the weakness. Where I tell you, you could be strong, but there's weakness.
Yeah.
There are people who say, I'm strong, I'm an alpha, and they're trying to control everything. No, you're a boss and you're scared.
Guess what else you are?
What?
A fool. And again, and listen, you guys that are watching, I know that today is Sunday, and I don't mean to like focus on the word today, but it's all in me for today. So just go with me.
From the root to the toot, girl.
From the root to the toot. Proverbs speak about everything we talking about. The book of Proverbs speak about wisdom and the need to be wise, and also it speaks about its counterpart, which is the fool. And so if you continue to create situations or be involved in an ongoing situation that's actually causing you harm or bringing harm upon others, you're being a fool. We have to. So that's why I'm listening to you. Keep talking to me, Pearl. I'm sorry, but like that's where we are right now.
You want me to a good place too. So I know in the world that we live in, and I'm all for strong women. Trust me. Okay. Because I see myself, I see you, we strong here, right? We're right here.
Yes, ma'am, we are.
I think oftentimes we go, well, why does the man get to be the head and we're the heart? So let me tell you what leads me from day to day. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready. Let me lean back.
Okay. If you think about the body, the head is the thing that you see, right?
Yes.
The heart you don't see.
Yes.
But it's beating. Right?
Right.
You can have a human body that is brain dead and that heart still pumping and keeping it alive. It can never and shall never be the opposite way. So I had to see it that way to see my power in being the heart, in being the silent but powerful thing. There is not a part of your body that can survive without your heart beating.
Girl, you done said it all.
I'm just saying, so we really need to understand that as women, there is no shame in being the heart. Just because we're not in the forefront doesn't mean we don't have the power to make things happen. We have the power to make this happen. Right. How oftentimes, and this has happened to me too, where they're like, yo, I asked such and such, and he's a male, let's just say a male or a child. I asked such and such to do it, he don't want to do it. Or I asked such and such to go pick that up, they don't want to, and they come to you and they go, can you go tell such and such to do it? And you go talk to such and such.
Right.
And he does it, or that child does it. There's power in that.
Right.
That can happen on a bigger level. You know what I mean? The same way, if that powerful heart, that woman in that structure is no good, nobody's going to be good. There's power in that. I think we forget that. We want to be the nagger. We want to come on and yelling and fingers up in your face. That's not your power. That's not your power. That's you being a nag and getting your way, but that's not your power. And I think we forget that. I think we forget that. I think we forget about that power too, because we don't see it in ourselves, so we try to tear apart what we see in other women too. So it's oh, why she's so big, why she's so skinny, why that man with her, why her hair look like that. Baby, I'm fighting a fight just like you.
Right.
Me saying, Royal, you look beautiful today does not make me less beautiful.
No.
And I don't think we remember that, because we are fighting this imaginary thing that we're creating in ourselves.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
So I said,
oh, that was deep. No, you're good.
Yeah, I said all that to say the reason why getting strong, or the reason why being strong gets so tiring, is we don't know when to put it down. We're scared to put it down. We don't believe that if we put it down, that someone else will effectively pick it up with us, because we don't want to let it go. But we don't believe, many of us don't believe someone will pick it up with us. Many of us do not want to look at that weakness that we are overworking and avoiding. We don't want to look at it. We don't want to face it. And, you know, people drink to numb themselves. People smoke to numb themselves. People overwork and take on strength that's not theirs for the same reason, to numb us from that thing we don't want to see. So I think the best superpower is being able to say, I can't. I have to stop. Or I need you. That is now, I'm not talking about the using type. Let me
no. Right.
Don't use. That's what I'm saying. But this is heavy, is a strength within ourselves. This is too much, is a strength within itself. And I need you is a strength within itself.
And when you spoke to, oh God, that was powerful. Let me tell you. No, because when you spoke, and you used that analogy about the heart and how its function allows things to exist, I want to add to that, because if the heart is what's keeping everything alive and thriving, even if the brain is dead, right? That head is not functioning. The other component to that heart is the oxygen. And guess where the oxygen? But listen, baby, listen, because you done made me move something. When you spoke to the heart, the oxygen is when that blood is going through our body and it's circulating and doing its thing. As an analogy, the oxygen is coming in and going out as a blessing, because when we bless others externally bless us. So it's a back and forth interchange between us and what we do and how we do and what we say that allows these respirations to transpire in our body to keep the heart going. Girl, you brilliant. God bless America.
Well, thank you.
You are welcome. That did it for me. That was just powerful. So that's a perfect analogy.
I think I just want to say it's okay to be strong.
Yes.
But there's no crime in being vulnerable. I don't want to say weak, being vulnerable. There's no crime in that. But the question still remains, are you that person that the strong friend can go to? Because I'm letting you know the how are you and how you feeling is not enough. Not for the person who's carrying the heavy load. That's not enough. It's not. Because the person who walked by you in the street and hold the door open for you, go, how you doing today? They're not asking you to unload. It's just, that natural talk. So let's not just keep seeking out the strong friend, the strong sister, the strong cousin, whatever.
Right.
Let's seek them out to be that strong friend, that strong sister, strong cousin. Let most of the time that strong friend, their love language is the way that you reassure them, not the words. My best friend used to say, believe my actions. No matter what I'm
Yes.
saying, believe my actions.
Right.
And I did. Like, no matter what was going on, I'm like, nah, that's not what that person means. I'm not worried about it. But that's also the reassurance, that nonverbal reassurance that a lot of us need to. So you need to learn your strong friend's love language.
Love language.
Is it acts of service? And please don't ask nobody whose love language is acts of service what you need me to do. Pay attention. Right? Affirmation. You're doing a great job. It looks good. And if you don't have anything uplifting or anything positive to pour into those people, keep your mouth shut. You don't need to volunteer. We don't need you to volunteer your BS. We good. Trust me, that strong friend already saying enough to them. I think something else I want to say to every strong woman or man who's watching this
Yeah.
is so often, especially in a Christian or people who are trying to be spiritual world, we are taught to give grace and forgive.
Yes.
Give grace to yourself. Forgive yourself. We're going out there forgiving others, but we're not forgiving ourselves. We're beating ourselves up. We're not being giving grace. Give grace to yourself. Forgive yourself, because as you're becoming the woman that you want to be, as you're going through these ups and your downs, you are going to make mistakes. There is purpose to your pain. There's a price for the wisdom that you're gaining. No one's asking you to be perfect, but get up and keep moving.
That's it.
You know what I mean? So I think those are all important things that as strong people we forget. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So
Yes, ma'am.
that's me. I've been talking too much.
No, you have said it all, honey. Like you just you hit it out the park. Yes.
I'm gonna have to go play baseball now.
Yes, yes.
Do the Braves need anybody? I'm here.
So silly.
Oh my gosh. I can't.
Yes. Yes. But that was powerful.
So
that was a powerful statement.
To our TGGX family, all of you, but I want to speak directly and boldly to our Black and brown women. Thank you.
Yes.
Everything on this earth, and I'm gonna put women in there, not just the Black, but thank you, because there is not one of us here that are here because that are not here because of a woman. We are here because of a woman. We are here whether that woman failed us a little bit or always carried us. We are here because of a strong mother, a strong grandmother, a strong cousin, a strong sister, a strong prayer partner, a strong praying person. We are here because of you, because of those before us, because the woman that you strive to be, because the woman you cry that you used to be. We are all here. And I think we need to look in the mirror, get close up in the mirror and go, you are more than enough. If no one else says that, we have to do that. We will carry a child, take care of a family, go to work, cook dinner. Heck, even those who don't even do that, go out and be someone's fantasy and come home and still not feel good about ourselves, because we have to do what we have to do. So I just need us to realize that we are stronger together than we will ever be apart.
Absolutely.
Ever. And I mean that. I'm sorry that we all don't have these great experiences. I'm sorry that some of us go, I do better with a man than we need to be together. We need to be each other's village.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Royal.
Yes. The only thing I want to say to round out our conversation is that strong does not mean that you are perfect. Strong does not mean that you don't have your own weaknesses, because we've established that this evening.
Yep.
Strong simply means that you have the fight to keep moving.
Yes, honey.
That's what being strong means. That you have the internal motivation to press on another day. What they say, press, pray, and push. Pray until something happens. You are
Yes.
able to keep pushing through in spite of what is going on, and you have that resilient spirit to fight another day. And that
Yes.
is what strong is all about. Not about being perfect, but just able the ability to just push on. And while you pushing, guess what? Somebody checking you. You don't even realize they
Yes.
checking you, but they see you pushing through your circumstance, and they were like, "Oh shucks, I see her over there doing it." And guess what you just did? You breathe oxygen into that person behind you, which is keeping your heart beating. That's all I got to say, doggone it. Because, girl, you brought that thing home. That whole message was you.
So on
Yeah.
behalf of Royal Rain and I want to say that we love you. And I know some of you may say you don't even know me, but if people could hate you without knowing you, we could love you without knowing you. So we want to say
Absolutely.
that we love you and we hope that you have a wonderful week. Look out for the Good Guy Experience. We will be live again on Wednesday. And you all, you beautiful souls, have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.